Hey everybody, this is Angela and you're listening to 5 Picks and a Chick featuring El Gato. This is the show that gives you 5 NFL picks for people who love football and friendly wagering. Today we're just going to give you a Super Bowl recap, also give you our final season record for this NFL season. Also, we've got our guest that we had last week. Hey, Big Zay, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank y'all for bringing me back.
And Mr. Parlay, thanks for being with us, Mr. Parlay.
Oh, yeah, it's good to be back.
Okay, let me go ahead and give you our final season record. El Gato, last week I went 2-0. My final numbers are 58 wins, 46 losses, and 1 push. I'm at 56%.
Nice.
You went 1-1. You are 56 wins, 46 losses, and 3 pushes, and you're at 55%. So, hey, I think we did pretty good for this season. And that's 3 in a row that we have had winning seasons, El Gato.
I like that. You know, probably the last quarter, not the entire half, but maybe the last third of the season were some really tough picks, right? I do recall the spreads being very tight. I did remember you and I agonizing over some of the covers that we didn't make, right? Some of the picks we didn't accomplish due to last possessions or mistakes, turnovers. But yeah, to to go 3 years in a row at over 50%, the mid 50s. I mean, it's hard to be mad at that, knowing that the professionals in Vegas, wherever there are sports books that do this for a living, right? They consume sports betting and research 24 hours a day. Yet here you and I are and our guest pickers throughout the season, highly competitive with that. And we just do this for fun. And here we are keeping up with the big boys.
Yeah, you mentioned our guest picker, Big Zay went 2-0 last week, and then Mr. Parlay went 1-1. I think both of y'all had the under, and for a while there, I thought that game was going to be under. But hey, like I said, we're going to talk about this game. Let's get started. But before we do, I love y'all's backgrounds, El Gato and Big Zay.
Well, let me tell you, yeah, Big Zay, I like yours. Of course, Mr. Parlay and his stallback retro jersey there. Love that. That used to be my grandmother's favorite player back in the day in the 70s when we would all be watching TV from the TV was on the floor. You remember those consoles, right? And she didn't understand a word of English, but she knew the game, and Staubach was her dude. But anyway, I picked my photograph, my backdrop there, and I thought that picture there was, and I think all of us even brought up this point that the Eagles defense was just going to be in attack mode, and they had to be in attack mode in order to stop the Chiefs. And that defensive coordinator, whatever he did in his mind to game plan this against the Chiefs O-line, he probably found 2 weak links in that O-line and just exposed them, took advantage of them in attack mode. They didn't even blitz one time the whole game. There was one that looked like a blitz, but they had sent maybe a couple of linemen back and covered and sent the linebacker in. And he almost took Mahomes' head off on that one. So hats off to the Eagles and that D-line. And
I thought have to blitz.
Yeah, and I thought that would be one of the major differences in the game. And that's why I put that screenshot up, because that was the whole game right there.
Yeah. And you're talking about Vic Fangio, their defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I couldn't recall his name. Thank you.
Go ahead, Big Zach.
Just a legend calling a legendary game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it. Your background, Elgato, man, one can make a debate that right there, number 19, Josh Sweat, he could have easily won Super Bowl MVP. That man played reckless, and he played like he was like his hair was on fire.
Lights out.
So, yeah. And that D-line definitely, he brought some heat. But as far as my background, y'all know who this guy is. Y'all definitely know who this guy is.
Love it.
These two right here, we don't get anywhere without these guys.
Yeah.
We don't get anywhere without these guys. For all the Giants fans to say a lot about this guy, and for a lot of people to say a lot about this guy, and their play this year was
And that's what a lot of fans call them. They just called them guys. They didn't call them by their name, right? They didn't call them by position. They didn't call them by probable MVPs of the league. They just called them dudes and guys. But they showed out in the Super Bowl. You're right,
Mhm.
exactly.
I'm gonna try to catch up with y'all first on the 1-1 on the 2-team parlay. Hey, look, I'm so happy the Eagles hit the money line. What a great money line bet. I parlayed the under, but who would have thought that you would go over with the Eagles scoring 40 points?
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought that? I mean, you touched on it, Zay. Jalen Hurts, a lot of particularly sports critics are eating crow, after the Super Bowl win with everything about Jalen Hurts that was out there. So eating crow, and rightfully so. Most of them are coming out and saying they eating crow, and that's a good thing, man. I mean, you can't, Sweat 2.5 sacks, 2 big solo tackles, just incredible on the defensive line to impact that whole offense. And Patrick Mahomes didn't look himself. He was always on the back heels, scrambling. And Travis Kelce, I mean, the big talk is, this is going to be a really interesting one. Travis, oh, hold on, I'm getting a call right now.
Check.
Kellen, what's going on, Kellen? Oh man, I don't know what, they shot my foot, or what's his name? Shot my foot, shot something.
Shot to the heart.
I don't know who they hired. Yeah, I don't remind me. I know Kellen. I know how it feels. Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate the invite, but I'm busy tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day. I can't make it to the parade. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. You look good in that press conference. I like you dressed up. That's the way to dress up for a press conference. Introduction to head coach Saints. You're lucky Dallas don't play y'all this season because we beat y'all still. Okay. All right. Hit me up later. All right. Bye. Sorry, guys. I had to take that call.
So Kellen wanted you to go to the parade?
Yeah, man. I don't know how he got my number, man. Shoot, he probably saw my chats about he should have been the head coach of Dallas, and he called me. He called me earlier, but I couldn't take your call. I'm busy, man. I'm with my wife having lunch right now.
Well, damn.
Can't be bothering me like that. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying about Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, he's got to, he looked. Travis Kelce, I don't know what happened. I really am just so surprised at his performance. But then I put 2 and 2 together. Do you remember a week ago our conversation about the pregame Super Bowl party and all that stuff? And then guess what happens to Swifty when she walks in? She got booed over there. Well, guess when that happened at the beginning? Guess what Travis Kelce's so focused on? Why is she getting booed?
Yeah.
The whole game, that's all he had in his head. Why is she getting booed? You know what? The outcome was what we expected it to be. I think we were all great on the picks, and even with our little fan base, quick impromptu Kansas City Chiefs comments there, but all good and really happy the way it turned out.
Yeah. We had even said, Jeff is the behind the scenes guy, and we're watching the game. He even said when we were watching the pregame and they had it on Mahomes, he looked nervous. There was just something not right about him. Even Veed looked a little bit different than what he has looked in the past 2 Super Bowls. And you had mentioned about the Kelce thing. I think like that Friday night before the game, they were out to dinner. And granted, they can have a life, but not 2 nights before the Super Bowl. They're out there at dinner. Maybe they should have been watching film instead of being out at dinner. Because I'm glad they didn't, because man, Eagles expose them big time.
Yeah.
And it may be, excuse me, Alex, it may be the blueprint moving forward on how to attack. The NFL is a copycat league. Once you can put the screws on a team and expose their deficiencies, the other team starts scheming that way. Moving forward, this may be a way on how to stop the Chiefs. But getting back to your point, Angela, on what the coach looked like, and Andy Reid and Mahomes, I mean, hell, they may have felt that way during warmups out on the field when they saw the Eagles maybe more confident. The size that the Eagles bring on the O line and on the D line. The Chiefs had many close games this year. They had struggled in the beginning of the year, got their stride mid-year, and then miraculously they won, I don't know, 2 or 3 games, last possession, last second. I don't think they ever played against an attack defense the way the Eagles had. They weren't prepared for it. I mean, they played some tough defenses in the AFC. Denver comes to mind, Chargers come to mind, but that O-line for the Chiefs never dealt with the size and speed that the Eagles brought, and that's what screwed them up. They had no answer for that.
No answers.
Yeah, that I tell you, man, Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't understand why they weren't targeting in the first half Xavier Worthy, and then they go out on a full target mode in the second half, and Worthy wraps up close to 160 yards, a couple of touchdowns. It was just they had to shift the whole game plan, and I really, to me, it wasn't so balanced like I thought it would be balanced for the whole game. And then the other thing came to mind on the Eagles side was Big Zay nailed it. Dejon.
Yeah.
Dejon.
Yeah.
Where did that guy come from? Across the middle, man. Oh my goodness. What a great interception run back, man. Oh my God. I was going crazy over here, man, watching.
Yeah. No, exactly. And we had said that the main parts were the keys were going to be the defenses. The defense was going to be, can the Eagles play a complete game to shut down the passing game, but also Pacheco ain't no slouch over there running back.
Yeah.
Of course they got Kareem Hunt as well, but also KC, they shut down. They shut down Saquon. They came in, they had a great game plan for Saquon, but that was the thing though. That's all they had. They completely, like I said, they completely forgot about the Jalen and his wideouts. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even Jahan Dotson almost scored the first touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that Jahan Dotson would have had the first TD of the game of the Super Bowl? That was crazy. But I just think that it goes back to what we were saying, maturity of Jalen Hurts. He had one bad little knucklehead throw. Other than that, he ran the ball. He held the ball when he needed to hold it. He didn't need to force any throws. He used his legs. And yeah, I just think it was just a complete game for the Eagles, and it's pretty crazy to me. I don't know if any other Eagle fans feel this way, but this was the most, in a way, the most relaxing game I've had all year. I feel like every game we've been in has been stressful, nail biter, down to the wire. Don't get me wrong, my buddies were telling me, "How do you feel? How do you feel going to halftime? Y'all got it. Y'all got it." I said, "Whoa, hold your horses, man. That's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid still in that locker room coming out of halftime. That scares the crap out of me." So everybody asked me, "So when did you feel like y'all had it in the bag? When the Gatorade hit the coach?"
Yeah.
That's when, like, okay, we won it.
Yeah, that is so true, because at half it was 24-0, and I still could not relax because it's Mahomes, it's the Chiefs, it's Reed and Kelsey. You just don't know what's going to happen. But luckily it was the outcome that we said it was. I know we said that for the Chiefs to win, they would have to contain Barkley. Well, they contained Barkley, but they did not win. So good for Cooper, 22nd birthday. The day before, he gets a pick six. It was an exciting pick six. Y'all seen that picture? Him and Mahomes behind him could not catch him. He was going into the end zone. Mahomes was right there. So yeah, it was good. I wanted to just kind of go over some stats, because we talked about Hurts. He got MVP. He had 3 touchdowns. One was the tush push. Of course, he had the 1 interception. He threw for 221 yards. He ran for 72 yards. And like we said, they contained Barkley. Barkley had 57 rushing yards and about 40 receiving yards. So he still got over 100 total. Yeah, they contained him, but they left all these other people open to where they were able to get some good plays and score.
And you know what? They didn't give up on the run either. Even I think I'd mentioned it in the podcast last week that some of the carries were going to be, or the run attempts by Barkley were going to be ugly. 1, 2 yard, 3 yarders, but they didn't give up on it like some teams would have. When you're shutting down the run game, they just kept after it, try to stay balanced, and sure enough, it finally opened up. To Zay's point, finally opened up those lanes to AJ Brown. Caught a couple of long passes, couple of third down conversions. I think even a fourth down play, didn't he, down the field?
Yeah.
And then you had Devontae Smith on the sidelines, catching a few balls. Goddard down the middle, extending drives, and then that long pass to Smith to just to kind of step on the throat of the Chiefs. And that sealed the deal, I thought, right there. But yeah, I was still nervous at halftime.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, man, that the money talk here is the fact that the bookies on the prop bets made so much money on Barkley. Not hard to believe, not one touchdown. The yardage, rushing yards. It is really hard to believe the 40 points and Barkley not one touchdown.
I know.
But that's the impact he brought to that game.
Yeah.
Because all he needed was one break, and that defensive that Kansas City defensive coordinator was always in his mind. He only needs one. And it will happen. Getting back, also talking about lines, is Dotson. You mentioned Dotson. That half yard, that dude had a plus 6,000 to score first touchdown.
Oh,
so you figure somebody bets $100. Yeah,
I thought he got it. I thought he got it at first.
I thought he had it too, but I saw the knee and I said that half yard. Just somebody was jumping for joy when he scored. And then the wah.
Yeah.
No,
it's just, and then I kept telling my buddies here. I said, man, all Saquon needs, you never know, it's gonna come. Boom.
Yeah.
Saquon's he'll hit a quick right down the middle inside zone, take it to the house, real easy. Yeah. But now back to what we were saying about Devontae Smith. A pretty cool little story about Devontae Smith. He lost his last high school football game in the Superdome in the state. So it's pretty cool that he gets to come back and win. And I think that's why he was, I don't know if y'all saw, he was real emotional. Emotional. And him and Jalen Hurts sharing that moment together on the sideline and them able to capture with the microphone what they're saying. I mean, that's really wholesome. And it's a really good story. Devontae Smith, he's not a flashy guy. He don't really show off. He just goes out there and he knows he's the smallest guy on the field, but he's gonna ball out like he's the biggest dude on the field.
Goes out there and works.
Yeah. I love it because a lot of those guys on the Eagles team are very humble. You got your guys, and all teams do, but there's a lot of guys on that team that are very humble.
When you have a leader like Hurts who's humble, and that's the big story is about him not buying mansions and living in a $2,000 a month home or whatever or apartment, whatever. That's humility. That is being smart. We're here to do a job right here. He may flash later in life, but right now it ain't about that. It's about getting work done.
I was texting a few friends earlier in the week, and it's funny because I look at Mr. Parlay's retro Cowboy shirt there, and he's wearing the Cowboys golf hat, and it's kind of funny. For the longest time, I was a Cowboys fan, kind of still am, maybe part time, not as much as I used to be. But it's really weird how I like a lot of teams in the NFL that play good football, right? But it's funny how the last couple of years I've transitioned, right, to a Cowboys rival in the Eagles, right? Followed the Eagles the last couple of years, especially this year since I picked them for my Super Bowl draft. And then the stud quarterback they have at Washington, and Daniels, I mean, that guy is probably going to, be the cornerstone of that team for the next 8 to 10 years, as long as he stays healthy. Dallas is going to have some problems competing in that division.
Oh, not according to Dak.
For the next several years. Not according to Dax, though. I did send out a text. He came out with a statement this week saying that they're very close, like this close contending with the Eagles. I'm like, slow down, bro. Come on. You can't even win any games in your own home field. But it's funny. Every time I look at that Staubach jersey, I'm like, man, what's happened to me these last 4, 5, 6 years with the Cowboys? I just don't like the way that organization is run. Yeah, Eagles play some good football, and I can't help but not follow a team that plays like that. To y'all's point of how that team is structured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Now, so what did you guys think that first penalty call?
Oh, the bullshit is starting.
I was like, oh my God,
my God.
here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here comes the bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they missed the block in the back and a couple of plays later, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But then you saw change, right?
Yeah.
And then I started to say, okay, now we're seeing a football game. Now I'm seeing a level field playing game right now. So yeah, at first you're exactly right. That was a soft. Oh my God, that was a soft.
They had a little bit of a makeup call though when for us, which I was okay with. I was okay.
They had to. I mean, it all evens out. I was surprised they even, let the Eagles tackle Mahomes.
Yeah.
I was amazed they even let him sack him without a penalty.
6 times, right? I think it was 6 total.
Yeah.
There was a couple that there were a couple of headshots that I was amazed they didn't call. But you know what? At that point, the referees were like, "This is big boy, big man football. Let's just let these dudes play and let's see what happens." Right?
Yeah.
And this is going out to Jalen Carter, because I know you listen to the podcast. You come to Texas, you got a free brisket coming your way, buddy. You let me know, because that hit you put on Mahomes. Oh my gosh, I think all of America loved it. I think the whole world might have loved that, except if you live in Kansas City, of course.
Yeah, and Jalen Carter, I know you're watching, and Big Zay makes the best brisket, so you don't know what you're missing if you don't contact them.
Hey, let me just bring up one more point on my screenshot when you say about the D-line and the players. On the bottom of that pile, there's a Philadelphia Eagles defensive lineman laying on his back. He was probably tackled. He's probably crawling to the court, but he has his hand extended out while he's still on the ground. And that is the effort that the Eagles D-line was putting up against Mahomes. I mean, he's in the bottom of the pile. You can't see him, but if you pull up that same picture at some point, you'll see he has his arm stretched out like, I mean, he's just going all out. Yeah, going all out.
They gave it their all, that's for sure, and it showed, man. But hey, like they always say, defense wins championships. In this game, it proved it, because that defense was amazing. All right, guys, we're at the end of our podcast. I just want to tell you one thing.
What? How many days?
NFL kickoff is September 4th. We're 202 days away from kickoff.
Yeah.
Countdown begins.
About that, that's 200 days. How many days did you say?
202. 202.
That's 202 days of the Eagles being the king of the NFL.
That's exactly
Remember
right.
that.
That's exactly right. I think they're going to repeat. I put money on it.
I would too.
Well, if you've made it to this point in our podcast, we just want to thank you. Hit the subscribe and like button on our YouTube channel. You can also find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thank you to Mr. Parlay and Big Zay for joining us today.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Hey, and El Gato, we're going to take a little break. We will be back for March Madness. So
nice.
We'll start up again for March Madness, and we'll get these guys back on.
Sounds good. Enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for being our guest pickers.
As always, thank you to El Gato for being part of 5 Picks and a Chick. 1, 2, 3, bet. And that's a wrap.